on this program, the Lord's Show Voice of Tomorrow with your regular host, Megan Abulele Ibe. Last week, we were able to acquire some tips on how to run a successful home and the definition of a marriage. Marriage is broad. Marriage is a two-way thing. It either make you or break you. If you are not enjoying your marriage, then you are enjoying it. So with us on the studio again, I have Mrs. Victoria Mokaro, a teacher. Mrs. Victoria, tell us in a few seconds about yourself.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Victoria Mokaro. I live in Verona with my husband and my children. I've been here for a while, since 2002. So I bless God. God has blessed my union with 3 lovely children.
I also have with me Mr. Olumude Ezekiel.
Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Olumude Ezekiel. I work at SDA Verona, and I've been in Italy since 2001 till date. And I'm happily married with a lovely wife and 3 beautiful kids, 2 girls and a boy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olumude Ezekiel.
Thank you. God bless you.
Mr. Olumude, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
And Ms. Victoria, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So, still on the marriage series, I want you to share with us, what is marriage?
Yes, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for having us. God bless you for your work.
Thank you.
The first one is it helps prepare you as a family. It helps prepare. Marriage is a way of preparing a family. Secondly, marriage is whereby 2 people, 2 couples are agreed.
They come together in agreement.
In God's love. You know, and the third one is marriage is a lifetime commitment. It's when you are in, you are in.
You don't jump out.
Don't jump out. In a Christian marriage is a lifetime commitment. So that is the definition of marriage in my own opinion.
Ms. Victoria.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Marriage is an institution that was created by God. God is the author of marriage. And why I will always use the Bible perspective is that because He is the author of it. Because a lot of things have gone wrong in marriage because we have refused to allow God into it. Many homes are taking God out of it. They are using the tradition of man. The tradition of man is not the tradition of God. It's contrary. And that is why there is a problem in homes. God was the God that instituted marriage from the beginning in the Garden of Eden. It was God that instituted, and He instituted that to reflect His image. We see that in the book of Genesis chapter 1 from 26 to 27. Marriage is to reflect the image of God because He made man and woman in His own image. And when man and woman is coming in and so to create that institution, the purpose must first to be able to reflect the image of God. That is my take. It's an institution that was created by God
to reflect His image.
To reflect His image.
Thank you. Mr. Olumude, to you, why is marriage important?
Yes, it's very, very important. Marriage is very, very important. Like I said, when, like our mommy rightly said, when you leave your parents, you leave your parents, that you are preparing yourself. That's why I define marriage as preparing a family. When you leave your parents, you are preparing yourself
for a lifetime commitment.
Family. Yeah, a lifetime commitment. So, and it is very, very important in a society to get married. And you are getting married not just to get married, just because I want to get married, my friend is getting married. You are getting married for something, for a goal.
Task.
For a task. That is right, commitment. Commitment means
you are in.
You are in. You commit yourself to that thing. You commit yourself to that thing. So the importance is in a society you look responsibility in you will change as when you were single. Like our sister really rightly said, marriage is meant for men, for a man, not for God, or for a woman, not for a girl. So why it is very important is you need it to help you mentally, to help you morally, physically. Because when you are coming together with your spouse, you are coming as one.
Exactly.
When you are sharing anything, you are sharing it with your body. You are not sharing it because you are one. So you are sharing it with your body. So you will see the home will just be sweet when you have the fear of God in you. Just the two of you, both of you must have the fear of God. Not only the man. If it's only the man, there's nothing you can do. The marriage will not work. It will not work. So both of you will have the fear of God. Because in a marriage, if there is no God, you forget about that. That is not marriage.
That is not marriage. Do you agree with him?
I agree. And my own take is what I want just from the contribute to. God can never make mistakes at all. And if God said that we should go and multiply, and that is why He instituted it in the first place, it's a union between man and woman. And for what reason is it important? For compatibility and for intimacy. And God said, it is not good for a man to be alone. For whatever that God said is not good, there's a consequences. He knew that when you leave a man alone, he will be isolated. Mentally, he will not be fit. Spiritually, he will not be able to be productive to the purpose why God has created man in the first place. He said, I make him a helpmate. The helpmate that will help him to fulfill his destiny. Now, when the people might be thinking helpmate financially, the first and foremost, helping that man to fulfill his God-given destiny. And the God-given destiny of God upon the life of that man does not practically mean financially. Does not practically mean. It is when a man is fit mentally, spiritually, that he can be able to be productive. So when he's not fit, he cannot be productive. When he's not productive, then the home cannot grow. It cannot grow. So when a woman is good for the both of them to come together as one, like what my brother just said, that they are no longer two but one. So it is good that for intimacy, that intimacy is that it's not just a part said it is not if you cannot stay, get married. Like
in order to avoid fornication.
And fornication has become the order of the day. Has become the order. The man now turned his home as his bed as an idolatry. The Bible said that the bed must be undefiled. It must be holy. So compatibility and intimacy, and to really reflect the image of God. And where a lot of homes are having issues and they are really lose the value of marriage because they have left God out of it. They have left God out of it. They are not doing it based on the tradition of man. And a lot of youth these days, they feel it, but they are not able to realize that they have missing it, that their parents have missed it by allowing God out of their home. And that is why most of them see polygamy as the order.
Do you see it as an avenue of growth?
Yes, it's an avenue of growth because marriage is like an institution whereby you don't graduate, you learn every day. You learn every day, so you grow.
We are talking of marriage abroad anyway, though we will relate it to a little to the ones back home anyway. What can couples really do? Because if you look at the divorce rates compared to Africa, I think Europe is of the high high rates side. So what can couples really do, to have a peaceful home? We didn't invite you because we just want you to talk. We'll be seeing you, and we also want you to share with us some of your experience. The secret behind what you are enjoying is what we want to hear from you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, you see, marriage is not what you just rush in. You don't have to rush in. We can see most of the things that are going on in the society today. Some on social media, homes do break, you know. You see the wife calling police for the wife because they married for something.
Okay.
Marriage is not like that. Marriage, you don't marry because of something.
For purpose.
You don't marry because of purpose, or you just want to pity this woman. I've dated her for some time. Let me just marry her just because of pity. You know, you don't do that. If not, it will affect
both of you.
It will affect both of you. That is why we have domestic violence till today. It happens. You don't marry. You marry out of love. You marry out of love. You can meet your wife anywhere, but let there be love and the fear of God in you. So you don't marry because I want to marry, or because my friends are getting married, or because my younger sister or my younger brother is married, so they will not look down. No, you don't do that. It will really affect you in future. It will affect you or the woman in future.
In other words, you should know what you want in life.
If you know, you should know what you want in life. And one thing about marriage is you don't keep secrets. You have trust. You have trust in yourself. The trust should be there, and the most important thing is you don't have to add any third party to it. Like our auntie rightly said, that you marry is like marrying a second wife. There's no way that one will be peaceful. There is no way. So when you have any problem, when you have anything to that is bothering both of you, why don't you people go to God? You go to God because God is the one that ordained the marriage. So you have to go to God, you know, and that is why it is very important in our evangelical churches that once in a month they are supposed to be having marriage seminar. Not every Sunday continue preaching the same thing. At least once, for those that are upcoming that want to get married, once you are preaching every month, you're talking about marriage, you know, you see. They will have that
knowledge.
They will have the knowledge. They are already prepared. So it will lessen the break of homes, whereby you see any little thing, the woman will call police. They will tell the man not to go 100 meters from. They should go away 100 meters from the woman. It is not good in our society. It is not good, and it affects the children, most especially the children. Exactly. It affects them mentally. Psychologically, it affects the children. You might not know that moment that it affects them, but psychologically,
it grows with
them. So that is my own view on it. Thank you.
In other words, your home is sweet based on number one, God is the foundation.
Yes, it's the foundation.
And
yes.
Then love.
Yeah, my home is very, very sweet because of the kind of woman God gave me. I must thank God for that. You know,
she's a submissive type.
Yes, not every man have the opportunity to have that kind of a woman. When you're in a man's life, there are times of challenges. Then you know the kind of woman you have. I passed through. I went through all those things. You know, it's just like I said, marriage is an institution. You learn. So when I was in difficulty, she stood by me. You know, she stood by me. She never gave up. She never nagged, because a nagging woman destroys her home easily. It is very, very easy for a nagging woman to just destroy her home. So she never nagged. She's let me put it out. She's a godsend to me. She really changed me. Looking at me when I was single and looking at me now,
the difference is clear.
Different, yes, it's a big difference, and I thank God for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Olumuyiwa. Society. What can couples really do to have a peaceful home?
Inviting God into the situation. Because the Bible said that the heart of a man is in the hands of the Lord. It turns wherever it pleases Him. But sometimes when there is no conviction, there is no repentance. Even sometimes when the people that is involving does not really know that there is a problem, the problem won't be solved. It can never be solved.
They need to acknowledge it.
They need to acknowledge that something
is wrong.
And they should be ready to take responsibility. taking responsibility that they have missed it somewhere and they are ready to make an amend. Making an amend is not by doing the same thing all over again. It's when you know that something is wrong, you need to do something different to make it right. Something is already wrong in a marriage. What must I do to make it different? If God were to be inside the marriage, nothing would have gone wrong because there is no failure in the Lord. And there is one thing that has been missed in Him, that is God. When we now acknowledge it as a parent that something is wrong, what is it that I need to do that I have not done? Is to invite God into it. And when God is invited into it, there's definitely, because He's a God of all flesh, there is nothing that is impossible for Him. We invite God into the situation. It will turn things around, even in the life of the children that has gone vagabond. It will turn it around. But the first and foremost is then acknowledging that they have wrong.
They've missed it.
They've missed it somewhere. Like a couple I had an opportunity to talk to a few weeks ago. She normally complained, my husband drinks. When he drinks, he's the friend. Always bring my husband back home staggering, drunk. And this lady would go shopping. She would still buy brandy in her, among the things she...
On her home.
On her home. I now asked her, sister, you said you're complaining your husband is having an issue with drinking habits. You go shopping, you buy drink. What are you doing to change the situation? The Bible said that faith is dead without work. Having faith that my husband will change. And she started complaining is the friend that my husband is mingling with. It's not the friend. The change has to start from the inside. You as a woman, you have a lot of responsibility to play if you have found yourself in that situation. Because sometimes when children goes well, the reward goes to the father.
Exactly. When
they go bad, the blame comes to you as a mother. And you as a mother have to sit humble yourself. The Bible said, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, and I will hear in heaven, I will come down and heal their land. You must humble. Humbleness comes when you have acknowledged that you don't have power to change the situation. That you are powerless. And the only thing, sometimes the guests here that I've had an opportunity to have a contact with, they think they have power to just face it verbally and physically with the man.
And at the end,
let's do it. Let's see. And this will have an effect in the children. It's no longer about
they are seeing it.
It's no longer about you. It's affecting them mentally, spiritually, and physically, and they can no longer be productive in their education. Yes, so we as a woman, if we have found ourselves in that situation, then we must have to know that we have wronged or we have done something wrong, not by facing the man verbally or physically or that. You can't beat the woman. No. You can't. So you have to humble. Be submissive to the extent that though I know the errors of this man, I can't fix it on my own. I need God that can touch his heart, even without me speaking to him. I need God that can talk to him. No, when you invite God, you can just begin. And then before you can be able to invite God, you as a woman must have made yourself connected to God. Connected, because the grace of God that sustains when things are wrong doesn't work in disconnection with God. It doesn't work. You must be connected to God for the grace to be sufficient for you when the trying situation comes. So that is why I always stand on the word of God. Because I have come to understand that if He is the one that have instituted marriage, then I cannot do without Him being in there. So you have to invite God into it. No nagging. Nagging, you can't do anything. You can't solve it. You can only drive the man farther.
Yes.
Because if you cannot find peace, if you cannot find peace in the home, there are Jezebel outside. They are not coming to stay. They are not coming to make a home. They just want to grab the destiny out of the man. And when the man is destroyed, then it affects you as a wife. So if you have found yourself in such a situation, invite God into it, because God is the author, is the finisher of all things, and is the God that can turn the impossibility to be possible. Inviting God into it. You can't do it by yourself. Not by that is like having fuel or into the problem, inviting your mother. Mommy, look at what you have done. You didn't sleep house. So, just leave him now. No. I have had an experience like that, and I didn't talk. Since I came to this Europe, I never one day in my life called my mom.
You resolve it yourself.
I never, and communication. Even if the man is not listening, he's dead. Sometimes they might even pretend they are sleeping.
But it's listening.
He's listening. Just keep pouring your mind. Speak. Communication matters. Communication is the key. Communication. Loving him in spite of his error. Try to make things, change things. Don't give up on him. Because sometimes, most of the time, we give up on him. Nothing can come. Nothing good can come. And when the more we give up on these men, the more frustrated they are. The men are the most baby. They are the most. They have the. Don't know. You know men. You will know that they, after your children, they are the next baby. When you are able to get them in the right spot, in the right place. So it might be just be there. When you begin to confess him as useless, as nothing good, that is what you're confessing.
Exactly.
That is what you're confessing. As the Bible said, as one ticket to his hand, so he is. So you're confessing him as him not being something good. Then he will never be good. Keep praying for the man, because God has joined both of you, and you have so as he has an authority over you as your head. The husband, no matter who he is the head of the home. He said the husband is the head of the home. No, this is going wrong in this Italy, in Europe, because they now think it's 50-50. It's never 50-50. It's never 50-50.
We know where we are coming from.
We know where we are coming from. It's never 50-50. It is the head of your, it's the crown on your head. And when you begin to profess him as being useless, meaning the crown on your head is useless. So we should keep professing him as, so God will change you, I know. But both of you both know where you have started. You started from the wrong foundation. The Bible said when the foundation is faulty, what shall the righteous do? You both of you, maybe in the process of time, you were able not to embrace Christ, and he has not. Don't give up on him. The only thing that you have to do, love him in spite of his error, and keep praying for him. And the Lord that does things will do something. Do something and turn things around for your family.
Thank you, Mrs. Victoria Omokaro. Mr. Olude Ezekiel.
Yes.
You see, these days, you see young couples anyway, seeking for divorce. You talk to them and they will tell you, no, I'm done with it, I don't want to continue with it. So, what should singles out there look out for before they go in?
I was once single, you know. First, you pray to God. You don't rush into marriage because Mr. A got married and you want to get married. No, you have to pray to God. You seek God's face. So, my advice is for the singles to, before they get married, they should know the kind of person they are, the kind of relationship they want to go into. The kind of, it's not this one now, it's not the boyfriend and girlfriend. This is a serious business. We are talking about now, this is lifetime commitments we are talking about. It's a serious business. So for them not to have conflicts, to have fight every day, you also be prepared. You focusing at, do I really need it now? Or
why am I
doing it? You ask yourself before going in. I did that. Said, look, is it the right time for me to do this? Then I said, God, please guide me. Because marriage is not a situation whereby you just rush in and you jump out. It will affect you. It will affect even the children you are about to bring up. It will affect them. Because before I was very little when I left my parents, so I was very, very little. And my auntie, my father's other took care of me. She's married, even up till now, they are still together. So I stayed with them. I am the baby of the house. So the experience, I got the experience from them. And I thank God for that. Maybe God used me then. God took me out from my parents' place.
To that place.
That is why we don't regret where you be.
Exactly, to grow in.
So you understand. So I thank God for my life, for their life. Till today, they are still living happily. They are old now, but they are living happily. So I got from there. I know what marriage is, how it it is very sweet when you meet the right
The
person.
right person.
So I'm advising couples that are getting into marriage that you try and focus. You be with the right person. If you be with the right person, I'm telling you,
You
will
enjoy
be
it.
like brothers and sisters. You'll be living like brothers and sisters. You know, not some houses you see the man will be in the parlor watching ball, the wife will be in the room, or the man will go out, the wife will no.
The relationship
It's not there.
It's not there.
It's not there. It's not there. You know, so that is why I said if you are getting married, for the single ones, please.
To your
it is
best
very,
friend.
So it is very, very important. Your wife is your best friend, is your mother, is your father, is your so also your husband.
Yeah.
Your husband is your for the home to grow. You have to be like you live like when you start living with your husband or your wife, you live like brothers. You will not even think of I'm not married. Am I married to this man? You asking yourself.
Just serve that question. You see, that is some of the reasons. You know, when we ask questions, and when some women complain, I will just be shocked and they say, does this thing really happen? Does it exist?
Yes, it exists. Yes.
Then, what attracted you to the man
In the first place.
In the first place.
What attracted
That is
you
what
to the man?
exactly. That is what I'm saying. That is, you have to. You don't rush into. You don't.
Did it just die automatically or no?
Infatuation.
Infatuation.
Yes.
Could be. Because sometimes
Infatuation.
you can't
It
even
wasn't
get
love.
used.
It wasn't love. It wasn't. They were infatuated by something.
By something, yes. That's why I
And
said.
led to it.
That's why I said earlier that you don't need to get married because of something.
Something.
Or because you want to pity her, or maybe you have dated her, something happened along the line.
just have to-
No, it
Don't.
will not work. It
You
will
see?
not work. No matter the person, it will not work. That is it. That is why we have. And it is very, very important to know your partner's blood group. It's very, very important. It's very, very important for children, not for
Not
both
for
of you.
both of you.
Which will affect the children. You know, so for the single ones, it is very, very important. They learn from this. That's why I love this program so much. It helps to grow, not by just going to social media and listening to or watching all this kind of program. They are educating. They are very, very educating.
You
pick from it. You watch all this kind of program. You learn from it. You take from it before you go into any marriage.
So thank you very much, Mr. Ezekiel,
Thank
for
you.
sharing your experience with us so far.
Thank you.
And for the single ones out there, you should know what you want in life before going in. The saying is a saying that goes that a broken relationship
It's better than
is better than the divorce. Let's go on a quick break again. Welcome back, still on the Lord Show. We would love to hear from you the advice for men out there and single guys that are about to get married.
Yes, I have this advice for them because I always use myself as an example. You know, you are the head, yes, we know. But don't capitalize on that. You are the head because God gave you an helpmate.
Exactly.
You share idea, is not a slave. You are the head, we know. Fine, but don't capitalize on I'm the head because it is very common among women. That I'm the head. Anything I said, you will know. This is very, very wrong. It's very, very wrong. She, as you are the head, she is also the head because she has the wife. Yes, you are just the head. But without if the head does not stand, the whole body can't function. So my advice is, please, for the men, to avoid all these conflicts, calling police or divorcing. Divorcing is is a sin against God. It's a sin against God, and where they are the children, it affects them a lot. It affects them a lot. So my advice is please, for the men, the woman is not a slave. Your wife is not a slave. You love her as you love yourself. Take her because she's you. Take her as your own. When you are at home, it doesn't mean you go to work. It means you are done. No, you help her. Like my wife, sometimes I will tell her, please, this clothes, let me iron them. I'll do it. It doesn't make me
Less of a man.
No, you understand? Sometimes sometimes if you want to play in the bedroom, for her to just bend down to, I'll feel it. You've tried. I come from work. I'll see her work. When are you going to rest? She said, why will I rest? Because people might just walk in, and this house is dirty. What will you say? You might come with your friends. I said, my dear, I understand. Okay, you leave the rest.
Step aside.
Let me do the. You assist her.
Exactly.
You assist her. You buy her gifts. It doesn't make you. You still remain the person you are. It doesn't change anything. Buy her gifts because some people their home are not settled. They prefer taking care of
outside
home. They will do things at home. Whereby your home, you are not okay. You are not living well. You are doing things outside, and you are the person that you don't go there all the time. Where you live is your home.
Exactly.
And some men, they are there. They will be taking care of
Africa,
the family, my sister, children, my sister's brother, and your home is not settled. So please, the advice I have for them is for them to this program is very, very important. For them to sit down and don't have that pride. Look, I'm the man. I have to say. I decide what happens in this house. No, you don't do that. Once in a month, you take your wife, because before you married her, she was beautiful, and now she have children. Now she's no more beautiful.
Yeah.
You feel like you are not. You can make her beautiful again.
Of course.
You can make her the beautiful woman she was when you married her by buying her. Like I do appreciate my wife so much. She's a woman I respect. I love her. It doesn't make me a fool. She might be going from here just 100 miles. Now, please, I need your help. Can you drop me? I said, just that. I'll drop her. I'll wait for her. Do what she wants to do. I'll take her home. And some men will not do that. They will say, no, I just came from work. I'm tired. You just go. No. So once in a while, if it's once in a month or 2 times in a month, take just the 2 of you. Just look for someone that will take care of the children. The 2 of you will go out, go to Italian restaurant, or we don't have African restaurant. Go to Italian restaurant, go to anywhere you want to go to. Relax. You see, when you start talking, the 2 of you, it will be as if when you started, the love will be there. She will feel it that this man still loves me. He loves me. So that is the love I'm talking about. Please, it is very, very important.
So sometimes they should always go to the foundation.
The foundation, it helps, and it helps the children too. Because if you are thinking of ourselves, we think of the children. It is very, very important. You will think of the children. And once you have any conflict with your wife, don't ever do it where the children are. Or your husband, don't ever do it where the children are.
They are watching.
They are watching. You will think they are watching cartoon. It's a lie. Even 5 years, they
know what you are talking about.
So if maybe anything is coming up like that, just avoid it. Both of you, I'm talking about not only the men now, the both sides. You avoid it. That moment you avoid it. Then later you call him.
You talk about it.
You talk about it. Peacefully. That's why you have your own room. Private. They call it private room.
Yes,
my bedroom. That is bedroom. When you are there, you talk about my wife. The way you spoke to me, the way you behaved, I don't like it. It's just a matter of I'm sorry. That's alone. It ends. I'm sorry. Don't have that pride. I would like to tell you something. No. I do that. That is why I'm still
enjoy your home.
I'm happy. I do that. Sometimes when I used to tell my wife sorry, I'm the only one that always tell my wife sorry. Then she later realized all the time this man will be telling me sorry. He will offend me. He will tell me. She changed. Now she's anything else. She will tell me. You understand? So she's the one now telling me anything. She'll just tell me before anything. She'll tell me sorry.
And you appreciate it.
And I appreciate it. So please, the men, like I said, always respect your wife, honor your wife. If you know you married her because of love, you love her, and she has kids for you because those kids bind the 2 of you together. Even if you are separated, that power is there. So that love should be there. Concentrate on your family first before you think of outside. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Olumide. And Mrs. Victoria, what is your advice for couples out there and for the single ones?
My advice is stop blaming one another when things go wrong. Because family are fond of doing that. Now your fault now. See what we just lose. Stop blaming one another when things go wrong, when they did not go as planned. Because in the first place, you both have agreed to do it. If it didn't come out as planned, both of you be ready to take the responsibility. Don't shift the responsibility. The blame is your fault. The blame is your fault. If you have done it, no. That is why communication comes in. When maybe there's something to be done at home, and the man places it before you, or you as a woman place it down. What are we going to do about this? Bring out your suggestion, but let the man take the final decision. Don't stand. Every man has an ego, no matter how small the man is. Don't stand. Let him have the final decision. Another thing is, like I said, maybe one another for what both of us.
Sorry, ma. Sorry, I'll come in here. Sorry.
Just come in.
Can I go? It's not a problem.
No, well, I want to come in here because you said all men have the right to decide. No, it doesn't really matter.
No, I said allow him.
No, it doesn't mean the man must take the decision.
No, sometimes.
Sometimes.
I think, like my home, most of the time, everything we do, we discuss it. And most of the time, my husband throws it at me, what do you want us to do? I will say,
yes.
We discussed it. This is what I would have loved to do about this. He will say, this is what I would have loved to do about it. Okay, what do you now think?
In other words, consentment.
Consentment.
Very important.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, it wouldn't come out and say, if you are bring out this,
no.
you're going to do
No,
that is what I'm talking
about. Both of you consent
to it. We consent to it. Don't you like, okay, let's take it, let's do it the way you just said it. I always give him that grant. Even if he's taking mine, I always give him that space.
Because you are aware.
I am aware.
Your opinion is there.
Yeah, my opinion is there. Even if, for instance, he might say his own part, that's okay. I think we should do it this way. He will say, okay, let's do it the way I just said. Okay, let's do it.
Please, yes.
Sometimes we do it his own way. I am aware.
Sorry to.
No.
Why I said it because when you said the man just did.
That's your consent.
No. Sometimes I will just like you said. I'll ask my wife, how do you want us to
do this thing?
She'll tell me, no, just do it
your own way.
No, because if anything happens, the blame will be on me. So I need your idea. Let's sit down together. The consent,
yes.
So once you
share the idea.
We share, that's why I said marriage is agreement between the two of them must agree on something.
That is what I'm talking about.
And if it doesn't work, what do we do next?
What do we do next? I don't accuse him. See what you are doing. What are you going to do about the mess?
Exactly.
No, I'm asking, what are we going to do about the mess?
Yes.
So we should stop shifting blames when things go wrong at home. Yes. When it goes well, we enjoy it. When it goes bad, we solve it out together as a family, because that's what makes us one. And when you are not able to be entertaining that, the man wants somebody to speak to. If you don't make yourself available, you don't make the man wants someone to talk to, somebody to talk to. They will take it somewhere. So I don't give that gap. I don't give that space. Make yourself always available. Also with the man, you have to always make yourself available for the woman. Like I've been here for years. I can't say the first place I do come down in this place, I don't have friends outside. Because my husband makes himself available. He's my gisting mate. We talk about everything. He makes himself available. When he's not at work, he's at home. If we are going shopping, he can't go alone. We go together. I will say, can you go and do this? No. He will wait for me to finish. Let's go together. Yes. So it's my gisting mate, my gossiping mate. We gossip together. We do all everything. And I don't have friends outside. And so the fact is one thing that makes home sweet. Stop shifting blames, because nobody's above mistakes. Yeah. When mistakes come, we do it together. When it's sweet, we do it together. Like the ones that are about to get into a relationship or married. The Bible said that the man that finds a wife found a good thing and obtained favor from God. It's not in your duty as a woman to start looking for men. As a woman, it's not your duty to start looking for men that will marry you. While you're waiting for that man to find you, make yourself be ready for marriage. Build yourself in the word of God. Make yourself a virtuous woman that is worthy to be found. Because when a man found a good wife, found a good thing and obtained good thing, make yourself that good thing that is worthy to be found. Not chasing mommy, going on miniskirt, naked yourself, or in the name you're looking for attraction. Because the amount of value you place on yourself determines what people get and what determines the kind of people that comes to you. Like how you present yourself. You don't need to go naked to get a man. No, that text, even in the way we are as Italy, the way it's been labeled, it goes a long way in the mind of a man that will see you like that. A man that will go to you will not even look at you as a wife material. So let me just go there and get my share. So make yourself ready, preparing yourself in the word of God to be a virtuous woman. It is very, very important. Stop and they said even in the book of I think you cover Psalm 119 verse 9. It says you must not indulge in any kind of lust. It's not the amount of boyfriend that you have that will determine how fast you will get your husband. No, you must not indulge in any form of lust. Be purified. Make yourself be prepared. Not the amount of many men you have that will say, "Yeah, I'm just testing." What are you testing? I'm just trying to see if you will keep me. No.
Certainly the right man will come.
Certainly it will come. The Bible said that the step of the righteous is order of God. So you make yourself be ready. Most of us, we have made that mistake, that lack of knowledge. The Bible said that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And thank God for the grace that has found us and brought us out of that mistake that we have made. But for things to change, that we might not be continue to dwell in sin, we have to make something different. Exactly. Stop exposing yourself. Stop telling people that this is what you have. Place value on yourself. It is very, very important as a woman. Place value, because we are to be valued. We are to be valued. And most of this time we kind of try to figure out our kind of marriage to be married that our parents have gone into in the past. They never enjoyed marriage based on the scripture. No. They endure it. Is that what you want for yourself? Know what you want for yourself. Not just know what you want for yourself. Know the kind of marriage that your mother has endured in the past. Marriage is meant to enjoy, not to endure. So that is one thing. Integrity. For you to have an integrity, you must hate insults. You must hate sin. You must be someone that have an integrity that one can be able to be proud of. Because these men that you see, when they got good thing there, they can make young gun with the good thing that
exactly.
They can make young gun for real. I know it through the way my husband will do. There are some places if one will go to Nigeria, you say, "No, you go." I say, "No, I should go." You say, "Go, I know you can do it." No, they can place you out. So
be proud of you.
Please have an integrity. It is very, very important. So, though we are in Italy, but the standard of marriage of God is still the same. It's still the same. It has not changed. Where we have has not changed the standard of God. The principle of marriage, the way God has make it has not changed. Because we are not thinking, "I am in Rome, let me begin to behave like a Roman." No, that is where things are going wrong. So we should go back to the real purpose of God for marriage and diligence. While you're preparing yourself to be found, be hardworking, get yourself busy. The Bible says that an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Get yourself busy. Be productive. So stop waiting for that man to complete you. Make yourself first be complete. Stop waiting for any man to complete you, because you are already completed the way God has created you. So everything that will come after is a compliment to your commitment to God. So that is one thing. And we should not look for perfection. We should not look as a woman, don't look for perfection, because there is no one that is perfect.
This man is.
No man is perfect. Look for potentials. Potential that will make him great in the future. He may not have something now. I remember when I met my husband in Nigeria then, though things really were hard for him. He didn't allow me to see it in the initial time. But I saw that he's someone that is hardworking. I see the strength in him.
Stay true.
I know it's a passive phase that it will soon pass. And though it takes time before it passes, I have that confidence that it will soon pass. And that strength that I have carried me through. I never have a doubting that this is how we are going to continue forever. And if you do that, with the help of God, you will find the right person.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria Mokaro, for honoring my invitation. And Mr. Olumude Ezekiel. Thank you. No, marriage is beautiful. It's a thing ordained by God. If you are not enjoying it, then you are enjoying it. And for the single ones out there, know what you want in life. Be prepared. Marriage, according to Mr. Olumude Ezekiel, is a lifetime commitment.
Yes.
And then Mrs. Victoria said, you need to complete yourself. Don't wait for the man to complete you. Be prepared. Know what you want before you go in order to avoid conflict. And that's how we can take on the Lord's Show Voice of Tomorrow for today. See you same time next week. Bye-bye.